Behind me is a 2013 Chrysler Town & Country with a 3.6 liter. We're going to be replacing the spark plugs. Want to remove the engine cover, just pops on with some grommets. Remove the air box. This hose here we could disconnect from the engine. And then a flathead will disconnect this hose here. Alright, we'll disconnect this connector. And then there's a little push pin right here. Will pop up and this should separate. Alright, there's the clip. Just a little pick and a screwdriver. Popped it up. And this is just held on with little grommets in the back. So just that one clip in the front and that connector. Now that gives us access to our back three pretty easy. To get our front three, we'll have to remove this upper intake. We'll take this radiator hose support off right here. It'll just be a screwdriver and it'll pop open. Alright, that pops open. This is free. So we're going to wait to disconnect any of this. We want to see if we can just remove this intake over enough to get room. We'll disconnect what we need to later. The intake bolts are 8mm, 1/4 inch, gets into some of these tighter spots. Now the intake has support brackets on this front here. They look like 10mm. There should be just 2 of them. So there's another support bracket on the throttle body side. Looks like 2 10mm. This harness can be separated from that bracket as well. And then there's a hose here connected to the intake manifold, and then it routes to the top of the valve cover. We'll pull that out of the way. So you notice on the intake manifold it has studs sticking out from this bracket. So in order to get the manifold out, you have to pull it in this direction to separate it from this bracket. But on the front, let me show you, the front is the same way. There's studs. Let's focus. There's studs coming out of the intake manifold into this bracket. So in order to pull it out of this, you have to push it in that direction. So it's locked in even though the bolts are out. So this is what we're doing. We separated this harness and then separated this off of the stud there, and there's a 13mm bolt. So we're going to pull that bolt off, and then this bracket should move out of the way completely. So then the intake manifold can move in that direction, pulling it from these support brackets here. So that's what we're doing in this little dark corner over here. And then I disconnected this hose here just in anticipation of this being moved out of the way. So this is the stud that came out, 13mm, and then now this bracket is able to be removed. There's another connector connected to it. We really don't have to remove it. We can just set it aside like that. So now let's pull the intake off. And that's all the further it has to be moved out of the way. We got our 3 coils here and 3 coils in the back. Good to go. We're going to put some towels over the top of this so nothing falls in. So before we take the coils off, we want to either vacuum or blow out all around this area so none of that dust gets in our spark plug well. So from here, the spark plugs are pretty easy. To take the connectors off, sometimes a screwdriver can help as an aid. Otherwise, it's just a push on the connector and pull it off. $10mm bolts are holding on the coils. Alright, now the coils just twist a little and pull out. I like to lay them in order. I'll put them right back where they came from. I'm going to do the front 3 first, then the back 3. Standard 5/8 spark plug socket. And I think this is a 10-inch extension. The manual does not specify whether to put anti-seize on the plug threads or not. I'm going to leave that up to you as a choice. Always hand thread your plugs back in. Alright, these are torqued to 13 foot-pounds. Putting the boots on, we'll put just a little dielectric grease on the tip here. Doesn't take a lot, just a little. Put our bolts back in. Plug in the connectors. Alright, fronts are done. Let's do the back. Alright, plugs are all done. Let's put everything back together. We don't want to forget our insulator piece. It kind of lays in there. Alright, with the manifold, just move the radiator hose up and out of the way. It slides in this way first so that the little studs can go in their support bracket holes, and then it just kind of falls right into place. It'll just lay there. If it's off a little, you'll notice pretty easily. These are going just into plastic, so hand thread them first, get them started by hand. And they are torqued to 89 inch-pounds. Now how that looks, and we're looking at the engine, the farthest top right is first. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So top right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 89 inch-pounds. Once those are torqued down, you go ahead and put all this side back together, that bracket, the hose in the wire. Alright, now we can put our 2 front bolts on. Put our hose back in. So we'll put the resonator box back on just so the grommets fit back in their home. I put just a little silicone paste, a little dielectric grease on it, and it'll just slide right in a lot easier. You'll feel them go in place, and you can feel with your fingers where they are so you can line it up. Now I'll put this clip back in, and then our air box back on. Alright, we'll fire it up. Alright, we'll put our engine cover back on and we are finished. Congratulations. Alright, there you go. That's how you can replace spark plugs on a Chrysler Town & Country with the 3.6 liter. The upper intake manifold does have to come off, but not too challenging. Just a few bolts, some hoses, some little connectors, and that's it. Moves out of the way. It doesn't have to come completely out, but moves out of the way enough. You can get to those front coils, spark plugs, and then the back spark plugs as well. Alright, well, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe. See you on the next one.